Abram and Lot separate. So Abram went up from Egypt to the Negev with his wife and everything he had, and Lot went with him. Abram had become very wealthy in livestock and in silver and gold. From the Negev, he went from place to place until he came to Bethel, to the place between Bethel and Ai, where his tent had been earlier, and where he had first built an altar. There Abram called on the name of the Lord. Now Lot, who was moving about with Abram, also had flocks and herds and tents, but the land could not support them while they stayed together, for their possessions were so great that they were not able to stay together. And quarreling arose between Abram's herdsmen and the herdsmen of Lot. The Canaanites and Perizzites were also living in the land at that time. So Abram said to Lot, "Let's not have any quarreling between you and me, or between your herdsmen and mine, for we are brothers. Is not the whole land before you? Let's part company. If you go to the left, I'll go to the right. If you go to the right, I'll go to the left." Lot looked up and saw that the whole plain of the Jordan as well was well watered, like the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, toward Zoar. This was before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. So Lot chose for himself the whole plain of the Jordan and set out toward the east. The two men parted company. Abram lived in the land of Canaan, while Lot lived among the cities of the plain and pitched his tents near Sodom. Now the men of Sodom were wicked and were sinning greatly against the Lord. So I had to point out something, and this was before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. So remember, this is back in during that time frame. So now they're going back. I believe they're going back towards Canaan, and so that's where we're getting back to those areas that like Sodom and Gomorrah, and those two are going to be notable as we're going to learn very quickly. The Lord said to Abram, let's continue to read, sorry. The Lord said to Abram after Lot had parted from him, "Lift up your eyes from where you are and look north and south, east and west. All the land that you see I will give to you and your offspring forever. I will make your offspring like the dust of the earth, so that if anyone could count the dust, then your offspring could be counted. Go walk through the length and breadth of the land, for I am giving it to you." So Abram moved his tents and went to live near the great trees of Mamre at Hebron, where he built an altar to the Lord. So with that, you have Lot, who is akin to Abram. And so they both are coming up out of Egypt wealthy. And because of that, they have lots of herds, they have lots of animals, and they need a lot of pasture land. And so they were moving together. So even though one had cattle and the other one had cattle, there wasn't sufficient amount for them to continue to move together. And of course, there were possibly quarrels, like it was saying. And because, at this time, they probably both had people that were attending the flocks, their own flocks, and there may have been issues that arise. And so Abram was like, okay, hey, let's not continue to be together like this. We can visit with each other, but let's be apart but together. You go one way, I'll go another way. We'll so that way we can utilize the land correctly in between us. And so Lot had chosen the area that had, unfortunately, Sodom and Gomorrah in it, and Abram chose the other area. So there's going to be some things that we're going to learn fairly quickly. What kind of thoughts or feelings come up to your mind about what we just read? I know that looking at our lives, has there been something of a similar nature? People use like friendships, oh, we're just growing apart. Is that really the case? Or do you need a moment? Do you have two people who are in competition with each other and they shouldn't really be in competition with each other because you're friends or your family? So, different things to think about and different ways to look at this. This is the living word. And of course, if something is not the same to you, that's okay, because you could be at a different time in your life, or the Holy Spirit could be trying to acknowledge or trying to get your attention for something that it relates, just not in this specific way. So that's why I always ask, what kind of thoughts or feelings come up? How does it make you feel, and what does it make you think?